Let's talk about how to AI-proof your directory. This is the question of the year, probably the question for the next several years, and it's ultimately led a bunch of people to come to me and ask, bro, are directories cooked? And to that, I just want to remind you that a directory is just a list of curated information. If you think the utility of a list is going to go away, then I think that's kind of crazy. Broadly speaking, I think the game for the last, 10 to 15 years has been all about getting attention. How do you get eyes on your project? But I think what's happening is people are looking 2 to 3 years into the future and asking themselves, well, if I create a directory or any online business, will it just die out? Will it just fail because search is changing and the nature of how people are looking for information is changing? So that presents a new challenge, which is how do you keep attention 2, 3, 5 years down the line when AI matures? So when I'm thinking about how to AI-proof your business and your directory, I'm thinking about how to actually acquire attention and how to keep attention for years to come. So that's where I arrive to 3 different moats. 3 different strategies that you can layer on top of your directory to make it AI-proof. The first one is Omnipresence. And this is a principle people have been talking about. A lot of SEOs have been talking about this concept. It's the idea that you want to diversify your distribution. You don't want to just rely on SEO because that's where a lot of people are fearful. I think the most obvious path to omnipresence is layering on social media. And I think a lot of people are groaning right now and being like, oh man, are you serious? I have to do social media? Maybe, yes. I mean, if you want to go and get attention, then I think it's a great way to do so. But let me show you an incredible example of how simple it can be to combine your directory content and social media to monetize your project. So I was scrolling through TikTok and I found Disc Golf Goals. It's this couple that just talks about disc golf. And what I discovered is that they're just selling this poster on TikTok Shop that tells you where the disc golf courses are within a certain state. So here are some of the examples of states that you can buy, but they're pretty simple and they're nothing too fancy. You could probably create this with AI, to be honest. And check this out, they've sold 572 of these posters. And by the way, I took a screenshot of this yesterday and they had 521 sold. So in just the last 24 hours, they've sold over 50 more of these posters. What's crazy too is if we look at their TikTok, they only have 1,400 followers. And if we scroll down, it's not like all of their posts get a lot of views. They did get a couple viral videos here. This has 992,000 views. This one has 700,000. But if we look at their everyday content, a lot of them just get under 1,000 views. And they're just holding up this poster and talking about their love for disc golf. So clearly there are ways to repurpose your directory content and monetize it through social media, even if it's as simple as this. Like in the last day, they've made over $1,200 in revenue just from posting about a poster of disc golf courses in certain states. Now, what about a directory website that's doing omnipresence pretty well, that's also not a massive directory? I would point to this. This is the scarefactor.com. It's a directory that I covered in a previous video, and it's a directory around haunted houses. And during October, this website goes crazy. It gets tens of thousands of monthly visitors. But if we scroll down, we can see that they're also involved in a YouTube channel. They have 19,000 subscribers. They still make content regularly, even though it's June right now. They didn't stop there. They also have a Facebook group here with 129,000 followers, and they're getting pretty good engagement. This is a post from yesterday, and they got 55 likes. They're also crushing it on TikTok. They have 153,000 followers here. And lastly, they're on Instagram. They have 15,000 followers here. You probably need to be pretty passionate about haunted houses to make year-round content around it. But I think this is a great role model example of how to actually get attention in all these different areas. Now, apparently they've been around since 2004, and so I don't see them stopping anytime soon. I'd be willing to bet they'll be around for years to come if they continue posting on social media. Now, the second way I believe you can AI-proof your directory is through getting specialized data. I've talked about this recently too, but it's basically data that is so hard to find, or it is available but in such a low quality that it is essentially useless. Or this can also mean data that you are in a unique position to acquire. The first time I got specialized data was with my thrift store directory, and I've told this story a good amount of times, so I'll just boil it down. But I basically called 150 stores, and I got information from those managers, and then aggregated that data into a PDF that I sell as a digital product. That was 2 years ago, and it still sells pretty much every day because I literally have no competition. I'm the only person with that data, and it's in high demand, so people keep purchasing my digital guide. The second time I got specialized data was with my Discover Plasma directory. And the only reason I was able to get this data was because I was in a unique position to do so. I built a Plasma directory, I got thousands of people to come visit the website every single month, and then I captured information through a lead magnet. I've also covered this before in previous videos, so this will be really quick, but this is the lead magnet that I created, and it's basically a way to get people information around the highest paying plasma donation centers near them. So again, I can repurpose this, paywall it. I can do several different things to monetize this information because it's really high in demand and there's really no one who's able to offer this information. There's a couple ways that you can get specialized data. You can brute force it the same way I did, where I called every single one of the stores for my thrift store directory. Or you can do what I did with Discover Plasma and you can crowdsource it, but it's a little bit more tricky. In order to pull this off, you need people who have valuable information, and then you need an incentive for them to share that valuable information that is then going to be your specialized data. There's actually a ton of opportunities when it comes to brute forcing your way into getting specialized data. There's a lot of questions online around the price of certain services. For example, if you're a homeowner and you're redoing your kitchen, you're going to get a bunch of different price quotes if you call all the contractors in your area. So one thing you can do is call every single one of those contractors and ask about the pricing details for a specific kitchen redo or a specific project, and then that would be your specialized data. So right now I'm in Ahrefs and I typed in how much repair, which sounds weird, but it shows me the most popular queries for how much things cost to repair them. So I clicked on the questions tab and I also filtered it by keyword difficulty. And if we scroll down, these are pretty good opportunities to find specialized data. For example, here we see how much does drywall repair cost. So if you created a directory around all the drywall contractors within a certain area, you could layer this on top of your directory. You could probably even charge for that, because if you're saving people time and money with valuable information and they're about to drop, I don't know, 5, 10K on a drywall repair, then it makes sense for them to pay you for your specialized data. So you can use this method to go down the rabbit hole and inform what types of directories you can build. Another benefit with specialized data is that it's usually paywalled, or in my case, it's behind a lead magnet. So search engines like Google or LLMs like ChatGPT can't just crawl your page or use Google as a reference to basically steal your data. It's not accessible. Now, the last strategy that I believe will AI-proof your directory or your business is community. I think this is pretty obvious to me, but the thing with a community is that yes, people might come together for a shared interest, maybe even a product or service that they want to know more about, and they kind of come together that way, but it's where members get value from other members. And that's really the whole point of a community. If you saw my video last week, you know that we spoke to Felipe, who has a focus group directory where he made over $100,000 with it last year. And the way he started was through communities. He fully immersed himself in a community of focus group people and understood what problems and challenges they had, and then went to go fix it with a directory. So how do you become the person who runs and operates one of these communities? Well, basically, you start from the bottom. I've joined plenty of communities throughout my life where I started as just a member, and then I found a way to provide value. People started to recognize that, receive that value, and then slowly I became more kind of influential in that community. But one practical and underrated way to find these communities online is through Facebook groups. Here I just typed in fastest growing Facebook groups, and here's a list of the 71 largest Facebook groups in 2025. Here we can see a bunch of different niches where people are coming together either for a shared interest or because the actual decision making within that niche isn't as easy as just going to ChatGPT and prompting it. So what you can do is go through these communities, find the one for you, and then start to contribute as a regular member. That way you can immerse yourself in the world of that thing and identify problems. You can be like Felipe and solve those problems with a directory and then paywall it, or you can just go get specialized data. There's many different ways that you can approach this. The great thing is once you solve that problem and become a trusted member of that community, you can use your leverage to invite people over to your directory website or whatever platform that you have your specialized data on. Honestly, there's communities for everything now. Last week I spoke in my newsletter that I met a guy named Sean a couple years back, and he has a 6-figure side business outside of his 9-to-5 where he sells fluorescent rocks. The only reason he was able to do that was because over the course of a year, he joined like 6 or 7 different rock and mineral clubs and then became a board member on all of those clubs. He basically took his hobby, which was going out to lake beds with volcanic activity, and then he he would collect these fluorescent rocks for fun. Over time, he became known as that guy who had all this wisdom and knowledge around fluorescent rocks. And that's how he gained trust and influence that he then brought over to his online store that sells fluorescent rocks. So it really does exist in the weirdest niches, and I'm pretty sure you can find one according to your own hobbies or your interests. So those are 3 different ways that I'm thinking about AI proofing your directory. With that said, I would just keep on going if you're just getting your feet wet with directories or building any online business in general, because you don't get to community, omnipresence, specialized data. You don't get there without building the thing first. You know, the same way I talk about data enrichment as a way to improve your directory, your list of curated data, is the same way that I'm thinking about these 3 strategies. It's just a layer on top of what already exists. So let me know what you think, if you think I'm wrong, or if you think I'm right, or if you think you have another way that you're AI proofing your directory. I'm kind of curious if you're also thinking about these things in a similar way. I'll try to answer any questions in the comment section below. But with that, I hope you got some value, and I'll catch you in the next video. See ya.